computer science and Java programming language. Today we are discussing interfaces. And let's say that I am creating some kind of a service, some kind of feature, a little program, some technology that I developed, and I think that I'm going to market and to try to sell this new technology or new code that I wrote, not to the end users, but rather I'm going to approach some bigger programming teams at bigger companies, bigger corporations that already developed some software, some product, and I'm going to suggest those bigger companies to buy from me my technology, my little feature, my little technology, and I suggest that they will incorporate my new idea in their code. So if I develop some code or some ability to recognize human faces or to recognize and scan barcodes or just maybe I developed some kind of calculator that is really cool. So I suggest to my customers, which are some big tech corporates, to use my technology in the programs that they develop. Maybe they are developing some heavy organizational software, or maybe they have some accounting software or any kind of software which I think that my feature may suit them well. And actually, many tech companies do that. Instead, if they want some kind of new feature to their program, instead of using their own software developers to create this new ability from scratch, if this ability already exists in the market, so why not just buy it and pay some license fees to the company that already created this feature and incorporate this technology in their own software instead of starting to develop it from scratch. So in this case, if I'm selling my feature or my module to a different tech company that they will incorporate this technology in their software, I do not want to expose all of my source code, which I invested so much in producing and developing. I don't want to give it to them all in the open, because I know if I will expose all of my code, it may be stolen or copied, and then I will not be able to sell it again, because it will not be a secret anymore. So what I do is I tell my customers, the big tech companies, that I want them to use my product, I tell them, listen, this is my technology and this is what my feature, my module can do. These are its capabilities. So I promise you, my customer of the big tech company, I promise you that if your software gives my little component, if it gives it a picture of a face, my product will return to your software, inside your software, it will return to it a value that says perhaps the name of that person or his or her age. Or if I develop some barcode scanner that knows how to recognize barcodes. So dear customer, I tell you, if you use my feature, this component of software that I wrote, if you give this component, if you give it an image of a barcode, my software will return to your software. It will return the value of the price of the product that this barcode represents. So I tell my customers, listen, these are the capabilities that my software can do. These are the methods, and I do not tell them exactly how I wrote the code to each method, because this is my secret. But I do tell them this is what my my software can do. So if your software feeds it some parameters, and these are the parameters my my software needs, my software will return to you this value that you are expecting to receive. And then if I have customers that like my ideas and believe my promises, then I go back to the office. Now I have to write the code, the code to back up all my promises. So first I only had an interface, which is actually just a list of methods which I promised my customers that my code can do, my program can do. So the interface includes all of the signatures of the methods. It says what is the value that the method needs to get from my customer's software, whether it's an image of a face or a barcode that it needs to evaluate or whatever, and what is the value that the method is going to return to my customer. It's going to be the name of the person it received the picture of, or the value that is hidden behind the barcode, or whatever. So this is the interface. By the way, the interface also may include some variables outside of the methods of the interface, outside of the abstract methods. Those variables will be final, they will be constants, but it is not considered good practice to use them in the interface, and in the end of this video I will explain why. So now I have this interface which has a list of all of the methods that I promised my customers that my product can give. Now I need to go back to the office and try to write everything and to deliver on all of my promises. So I begin to write a class in Java, and in the class I use the word implement, and then I write the name of the interface, because this shows to myself, first of all, that now in my class I'm going to give the code and to write all of the implementation of all of the methods that I told my customers that I can deliver on. So in this class that I'm now writing, and that is implementing the interface, I should give right now the logic, the code, the instructions of how I'm going to do all of these miracles that I said that I can do with my software. So this is the part where software developers sit down and write the code that they need to write in order that the software will do what they promised that they will do. And if my programmers, when they are writing all of the code for all of those methods, forgot to write the code, the body of some method that was written as an abstract method, a method without body in the interface, then the code of the class that implements this interface will not compile. Because if the class does not include, or my developers, they forgot to write some code, some body of one of the methods that exists in the interface, then there will be an error message that says that we forgot to write the code for one of those methods. So all of the methods that appear in the interface that the class implements, all of those methods should have some body, some code written to them in the class. So if now I'm meeting with my customers, those big tech companies that I'm selling them my little software, and I speak to them, I try to listen to their needs and requirements, and they tell me that my software is lacking with something. For example, my software does not include some method that my customer needs. Maybe my barcode scanner only scans barcode of a certain type, and my customer said it's not enough. I need to improve on my software and add some other capabilities. So I take their recommendation to heart, and I go back to the office, and then late at night I sit down in front of the interface, and under all of the under all of the existing abstract methods that exist in that interface, meaning all of the names of the methods and their parameters, I decide to add another abstract method, another promise to the customer that will fulfill my customer requirements. So I do that at night. In the morning, the developers come to work. They want to continue to work on the class that implements this interface. And what do they see? That the class do not compile. And the reason the class do not compile is that I added another abstract method to the interface, which the class implements. And if the class that implements an interface does not include a body to each and every method that is included in the interface, the class will not compile. So since Java edition 8, there is a solution to this problem. And what now exists in the technology of Java is that I can, if I want to, I can add in an interface a method that will have some body to it, will have some content to it. I will just use the word default in the beginning of that method's signature in the interface, and I will include some body, some content to that method. And in this way, when the developers come in the morning and want to compile the code of the class, it will compile, because there will not be an error message that says that the developers forgot to write a content to that abstract method, because this content, even though it is just the default content, already exists in the interface. And then afterwards, if the developers would like in their own time to override that method in the class that implements the interface, and to give this method a new and updated content, they may do so if they wish to do so. And I promised you that I will explain why it is not good practice to put variables in, even though they are final, they are constants, in the interface. And the reason for that is that if I put variables in the interface, variables outside of the methods of the interface, and these variables are considered to be final, they are constant. The thing is that if I now implement this interface in some class that implements this interface, inside the class, now when I want to refer to this constant, this variable that was in the interface, in my class, I can do so with two different names. I can call this variable that is in the interface. Let's say the interface name is interface, okay? And the variable's name is number. So in the code of the class, I can call this variable using the name interface.number. But I can also call this variable in a different name. Let's say that the name of the class is class. So I can reach the exactly same variable in the interface if I write in the class the name class.number. So the same variable in the interface can be called in the class code in two different names, interface.number and class.number, and they both return the same variable. And it's kind of confusing to have two different names calling exactly the same variable. And the second problem that exists if I use variables in the interface, constants, final variables in the interface, the other problem is that I can, in my class, I can locally declare a variable with exactly the same name. And then I am hiding or shadowing the variable that exists in the interface. And what happens is that even though the variable in the interface is supposed to be constant, what happens is that in the class I can give it again and again new values. And then if I in my class code, if I did do this hiding or shadowing, if I declared again a variable with the same name, what can happen is that if I will call the variable using the name of the interface, for example, if the interface name is interface and the variable name is number, if I write in my in the code of my class, if I write interface dot number, I will get the variable that is in the interface. And let's say the class name is class. So if I call class dot number, I will get a different value, the value that is locally in the class. So this is called namespace pollution, and it is not recommended. And I hope you find this explanation about interfaces interesting. Thank you for watching.